Black Ivory coffee is currently the most expensive food in the world, costing $2,600 per kilogram. But how did this coffee get so expensive? Well, we're about to find out. Before we start, make sure to hit that like button for more videos about expensive things. Also, feel free to check out our new channel. We post the same videos there too. So, if you want to double the fun, go ahead and subscribe. The coffee plant Coffea is a genus of flowering plants whose seeds are used to make coffee. It is native to tropical regions of Ethiopia and southern Sudan, in a place called Kaffa. This is where the name of the coffee comes from. The legend says that the Ethiopian governor Baba Budan smuggled some coffee beans out of the Muslim state of Yemen in the 15th century. He wanted to avoid the Muslim practice of not drinking alcohol, but he still wanted something warm and tasty to drink in the evenings. Upon arrival in India, he began selling the coffee beans. This spread quickly, and soon coffee was being grown all over the southern part of India. Soon after, coffee would become known in Europe, and the rest would be history. Today, there are many different types of coffee. Arabica and Robusta are the two main species that we are most familiar with. Within these species, there are many subspecies and varieties which differ in their flavor profile, caffeine content, growing conditions, and so on. For example, Arabica has more than 100 varieties, each with its own unique qualities. Robusta also has around 60 different varieties. It can be hard to keep track of them all. In 2017, a coffee farm in Thailand had an idea. They were going to create the most expensive cup of coffee in the world. To do this, they needed an ingredient that was rare and unusual. They needed something that no other coffee had, something that could put them on the map. That's when they came up with the genius idea to use poop. Not just any poop, however. Their idea was to use the poop of elephants. Now, you may be asking yourself, why should I drink coffee made from elephant poop? What makes it so special? Well, it turns out that the answer to this question lies in history. In 1896, Copa Luwak, otherwise known as civet coffee, appeared on the market. Civets are small, cat-like mammals who love eating coffee cherries. They will eat the whole fruit and only leave the bean inside the body. When they poop, the beans will come out. These beans are collected and washed thoroughly to remove any leftover feces. What's left over is a coffee that is very different from the original. It's strong and smooth. The reason for this is because the civet prefers to eat the ripest fruits. They leave the unripe ones behind, meaning that only the best beans are picked. On top of that, their digestive system does something to the coffee that cannot be replicated by humans. The enzymes found in their stomachs break down some of the proteins and oils in the coffee, making it smoother than usual. The result is a very high-quality product that is worth quite a lot of money. Kopi Luwak can cost up to $200 for a cup. Now back to our coffee in Thailand. They decided to follow in the footsteps of Kopi Luwak and use elephant poop to make an even better version. But why do they use elephants instead of civets? Well, civets are actually quite hard to find. If you live in North America or Europe, you probably won't see one in your lifetime. You might see an elephant, though especially if you live near a zoo. But elephants are not only easier to find, they also eat way more coffee cherries than civets. This gives them a higher chance of getting the beans out, making the process much faster. But wait, I have another question. If the civet eats the coffee cherry and leaves the bean behind, why don't elephants do the same? Isn't that what happens in nature? Well, yes, it is. However, the coffee cherries eaten by the elephants at the farm are fed to them on purpose. They were given a selection of the ripest cherries they can find, so they leave the unripe ones behind. After they eat the cherries, they'll poop, which contains the beans. Those beans are then collected and cleaned before being turned into the world's most expensive coffee. It sounds like a scam, right? Who would fall for this elephant dung coffee? Turns out that people are willing to pay $2,600 per kilogram for this coffee. But how do they grow it? The story of black ivory coffee begins with an elephant named Fa. She was an Asian elephant who lived at the Golden Triangle Asian Elephant Foundation in northern Thailand. This foundation was created to protect and care for injured, sick, or old elephants. She spent her days walking through the jungle with her mahout, which is the Thai word for elephant caretaker. One day, while walking through the jungle, she ate some coffee cherries that fell off a nearby bush. Her mahout noticed this and realized that he might be onto something big. The next day, he checked her poop and sure enough, he found some intact coffee beans. Thinking this was a lucky coincidence, he fed her some more coffee cherries. Again, he found some beans in her poop. Realizing what had happened, he went to the owner of the farm and told him his idea. Together, they decided to use fast poop to create a brand new coffee. This coffee has gone through several developments since then. Today, the elephants at the farm are fed a carefully selected mix of Arabica and Robusta beans. This gives the final product a unique flavor profile that is unlike anything else on the market. The coffee is said to have notes of dark chocolate, toasted marshmallow, and white pepper. Some have compared it to a fine wine due to its complex taste and aroma. So how exactly do they grow this stuff? Well, it starts with the elephants, of course. Every morning, the mahouts prepare a batch of coffee cherries for them. They're careful to pick only the ripest cherries, so the elephants will leave the unripe ones behind. Once the elephants have finished eating the cherries, the mahouts collect their poop and take it to the processing area. Here, the poop is carefully sifted to remove any unwanted materials. The beans are then washed thoroughly to remove any leftover residue. Once the beans are clean, they're dried and sorted by size and quality. The best beans are then roasted and ground ready to be brewed. Growing black ivory coffee is a labor-intensive process. It takes several weeks to collect enough poop to make a single batch of coffee. This means that the supply is very limited, which contributes to its high price tag. But it's not just the rarity of the beans that make black ivory coffee so expensive. It's also the unique flavor and aroma that can only be found in elephant dung coffee. Some people say that black ivory coffee tastes like a fine wine with complex notes and aromas that change with each sip. Others say it's simply too strong and bitter for their liking. But whether you love it or hate it, there's no denying that it's unlike any other coffee you've ever tasted. So now you know how this strange coffee is made. But how much do you really need to spend to get your hands on it? Well, the price tag varies depending on where you buy it. In Thailand, it can be found for around $1,000 per kilogram. But in other countries like the United States, it can cost as much as $2,600 per kilogram. That's why it's often referred to as the world's most expensive food. When you think about how much work goes into making black ivory coffee, it's easy to see why the price tag is so high. But do you think it's worth it? Would you pay $1,000 for a kilogram of coffee? Let us know your thoughts. If you liked this video, make sure to check out one of the ones popping up on your screen right now. And don't forget to subscribe for more expensive things.